Hi guys, thanks for joining us again on the channel. So, there's a reason I haven't talked about this one until now. It's not because I didn't want to talk about it, but because I needed to get it right. And now, the wait's over. But before we get into that, don't forget to check this exclusive discount for it. You can find the link in both the video description and the top comment below. Now, let's not waste any more time and jump right into the details. Now, let's hear directly from our first reviewer about their experience.
This reviewer found this electric bike to be a fantastic value, especially for commuting and some light off-roading. Our reviewer noted that assembly was straightforward and the bike looks great right out of the box. For its intended purpose of getting to and from work, it gets the job done admirably. The ride is generally smooth on pavement, and thanks to its fat tires and front suspension, it handles grass and dirt trails surprisingly well. The headlight is quite bright, which is a definite plus for visibility. However, the experience wasn't without its frustrations. The most significant drawback for this client was the complete lack of customer support. After sending multiple emails over several weeks regarding a query, they received no response, suggesting that buyers should not expect any warranty assistance or post-purchase help from the company. On the bike itself, removing and installing the battery can be a bit of a pain, though our reviewer mentioned it becomes easier with practice. The motor can also be a little noisy when accelerating up to its top speed. For a larger rider, this electric bike managed to hit about 21 miles per hour on throttle alone, but performance seems limited by the hardware, as even a much lighter person couldn't push it any faster. The 7-speed gearing also means that at higher speeds, you'll find yourself ghost pedaling without adding any real power. While this client wished for more gears and a more powerful motor, they ultimately felt that for what it is, this electric bike is an unbeatable package. It's a solid machine, as long as you go in knowing its limitations and the fact that you'll likely be on your own for any support issues.
Fantastic. Now, let's see what insights our next reviewer has to offer.
This reviewer is clearly thrilled with their new electric bike, noting how much they love it and have already started personalizing it to fit their style. Our reviewer has added a more comfortable seat, rain guards for weather protection, and various red reflective stickers for visibility. They also installed colored lights on the tires, which they set to red for safety during night rides, showing a real enthusiasm for their new ride. When it came to assembly, this client found the process surprisingly straightforward, even for someone who doesn't consider themselves a bike expert. For the most part, the instructions were clear, but they did share a couple of helpful tips from their experience. They cautioned others to be very careful to install the left and right pedals on the correct sides, as mixing them up led to a frustrating half-hour delay. There was also a moment of confusion with a couple of extra bolts that, after rereading the manual, turned out not to be needed for the front wheel installation. Out on the road, the performance of this electric bicycle really impressed our reviewer. As a heavier rider, they were still able to easily reach speeds of 33 miles per hour on flat ground, and have even clocked an exhilarating 45 miles per hour going downhill. They found the pedal assist to be effective, and noted that engaging the throttle-only mode was as simple as setting the assist level to 0 on the display. However, the experience wasn't perfect. The biggest drawback mentioned was the battery's performance in throttle-only mode. The actual range fell significantly short of what was expected, with the battery level dropping by nearly half after just 6 to 8 miles of use. This forced an early switch to pedal assist and left the reviewer wondering if their battery might be defective. Other minor frustrations included the inability to use the throttle and pedal assist at the same time, and the fact that the LCD display is difficult to see at night because it lacks a backlight. Despite these few critiques, the overall sentiment remains overwhelmingly positive.
Awesome. Let's hear what our next reviewer has to share about their experience.
This reviewer initially found themselves incredibly impressed with this electric two-wheeler, especially considering its accessible cost. They couldn't imagine finding a better option for the money. Everything arrived as expected, with no missing components, and assembly was straightforward and simple enough, even suggesting a quick online video search for anyone needing a visual guide. Being a larger individual, this client was initially concerned about the power output, but the motor proved more than capable, effortlessly getting them going. During the first week of ownership, there were no hitches, and they made sure to take this bike out whenever possible. The only minor quibbles were the front suspension, which our reviewer described as subpar, and the overall heft of the machine. However, they quickly acknowledged that these were understandable compromises given the price point and wouldn't be an issue unless one needed to carry the bike up flights of stairs or tackle extremely challenging terrain. The initial recommendation was very strong, comparing the value favorably to a decent, mid-range traditional bicycle from a well-known maker. However, after a few years of ownership, this client stands by their initial assessment while adding some important caveats. One significant issue that emerged, which others have also noted, is that the battery tends to shut down completely when the display still indicates around 30% charge. Our reviewer experienced the motor cutting out suddenly, often while navigating an incline or even pulling a small trailer, despite the display suggesting ample power. It's unclear if this is an inaccurate reading or a battery protection feature, but it's certainly a major inconvenience. Furthermore, despite taking diligent care of the battery, avoiding overcharging, frequent deep discharges, and extended charging times, its capacity has noticeably diminished after moderate usage over several years. This bike can now barely manage a Fractio.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time.